A U.S. aircraft carrier deployed in the Middle East reportedly shifts position in contested waters. This as Iran launched a surveillance drone towards the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln that was instantly shot down by the American forces. The drone action further raised the tensions between the U.S. and Iran as Trump explores diplomacy to reach a possible nuclear deal with the Islamic Republic. According to reports, the U.S. Navy's Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group has repositioned to waters off southern Yemen. The move places one of America's most powerful naval assets near the Gulf of Aden, east of Yemen's Socotra Island, a strategic corridor linking the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. Iran's semi-official Fars news agency claims the carrier has withdrawn roughly 1,400 kilometers from the Iranian port city of Chabahar. According to the report, the strike group is now operating closer to Yemeni waters, a shift that comes amid rising regional tension. U.S. officials have not confirmed the repositioning, but analysts say such movements are rarely accidental. Carrier strike groups project power, send warnings, and signal readiness, and the signal is being read loudly in Tehran. Iranian officials have issued fresh warnings, cautioning that any escalation by the United States could trigger a broader regional conflict. Senior figures have warned of severe repercussions for global energy markets, including the risk of sharply rising oil prices. At the same time, Iran's chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces announced a significant shift in military doctrine. He said Iran has entered a more offensive phase. That statement alone has raised alarms across Western capitals. For years, Iran has framed its military posture as defensive. That framing appears to be changing. Meanwhile, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian says he has authorized preparations for negotiations following requests from what he called friendly governments in the region. Pezeshkian confirmed he instructed Iran's foreign minister to prepare the ground for talks with Washington, but he added strict conditions. Any negotiations, he said, must be fair, just, respectful, and conducted in an atmosphere free from threats and unreasonable expectations. That message appears aimed directly at President Donald Trump. As Iran signals cautious openness, Washington is moving its envoys. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, is due to arrive in Israel on Tuesday. He is expected to meet Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. According to officials cited by the Associated Press, Witkoff is also expected to meet Mossad Director David Barnea. Those meetings come as Israel watches Iran's moves with deep concern. Israel has repeatedly warned it will not tolerate a nuclear-armed Iran. Behind the scenes, preparations for possible talks are accelerating. Sources say Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, are expected to join talks with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in Oman. The meeting is reportedly scheduled for Friday. It is unclear whether foreign ministers from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Pakistan, and Oman will join the talks. Officials familiar with the discussions say talks could be split into two tracks. One would focus on Iran's nuclear program. The second would address broader U.S. demands, including limits on Iran's missile capabilities and its regional influence. These issues remain deeply contentious. Washington wants Tehran to halt uranium enrichment and surrender existing stockpiles. Iran has rejected those demands outright. Tehran says it is willing to discuss only its nuclear program, not missiles or allied groups. The gaps remain wide. Despite the diplomatic push, military pressure continues. President Trump has warned that the United States could strike Iran if negotiations collapse. U.S. officials have told regional mediators that Trump has not yet made a final decision. That uncertainty is fueling anxiety across the region. Iran, for its part, has told mediators it fears Washington may be using diplomacy to buy time ahead of military action. Those fears are rooted in recent history. Planned U.S.-Iranian talks in June were derailed after Israel launched a military operation just days before negotiations were set to begin. In recent days, regional diplomacy has intensified. Qatar's prime minister made an unannounced visit to Tehran. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi later held a phone call with President Pezeshkian. Sources say they reviewed a comprehensive proposal drafted by Oman and Qatar. The framework reportedly combines limits on uranium enrichment with economic incentives and security guarantees. It is unclear whether the United States supports the proposal, but officials say Pezeshkian is seeking firm assurances that Iran will not be attacked while negotiations are underway. In a telling development, Iran's Revolutionary Guard reportedly canceled planned live-fire drills in the Strait of Hormuz. The drills were scheduled for Sunday and Monday. They were called off after a warning from the United States. The Strait of Hormuz remains one of the world's most sensitive choke points, carrying a significant share of global oil supplies. Any disruption there would send shockwaves through global markets. The war has not begun, but neither has peace. A U.S. carrier sits off Yemen. Iran signals both defiance and dialogue. Diplomats race against the clock, and the world waits to see whether this moment becomes a breakthrough or the beginning of something far darker.